Imagine waking up tomorrow and checking the news, but instead of reading about NATO summits or US-China tensions, the headline reads, Roman Senate debates AI regulation, or imperial legions deployed to Mars colony. Sounds insane, right? But here's the thing. If the Roman Empire had never collapsed in 476 AD and survived continuously for 2,000 years into 2025, that would be our reality. Not a joke, not alternative history fan fiction, a legitimate geopolitical nightmare, or dream, depending on where you stand on the spectrum of loving efficient bureaucracy versus enjoying the concept of national sovereignty. Let's set the stage. In our timeline, Rome fell. Europe shattered into 1,000 feuding kingdoms, and eventually we got the Westphalian system in 1648. You know, that boring treaty that gave us the modern concept of nation-states with fixed borders and equal sovereignty. Thrilling stuff for international relations professors. Catastrophic for this scenario. Because if Rome never fell, none of that happens. No Germany, no France, no Spain, no Italy. Ironically, no Italy, even though Rome is in Italy. Instead, we'd have one massive imperial structure stretching from the Atlantic to the Middle East, controlling roughly 5 million square miles and commanding the loyalty of what could be over 1 billion people today if we scale up their historical demographics. The European Union currently has about 450 million citizens, and they can barely agree on agricultural subsidies. Now imagine that, but with legions and 2 millennia of institutional memory. The first domino, no Europe, means no European nation-states, which means no balance of power politics, which means the entire framework of modern international relations, gone. The world wouldn't be multipolar like today, with the US, China, UU, and Russia jockeying for influence. It would be Roman-centric, a Pax Romana 2.0, where the Mediterranean isn't a charming vacation destination, but the geopolitical core of human civilization. Mare Nostrum, our sea, never stopped being theirs. They'd control Gibraltar, the Bosporus, and the Suez Canal, the 3 choke points that regulate 12% of global trade today. Imagine one empire holding all 3. That's not just strategic leverage, that's holding the world economy by the throat while asking politely if everyone's playing nice.
Now scale up the military. 2,000 years of continuous institutional evolution means Rome doesn't just have a military, they have the military. We're talking about legionary doctrine that started with disciplined infantry formations and pylons, evolving through gunpowder, mechanization, and now drones, AI-assisted logistics, and probably some classified robotic combat units that would make a U.S. Marine jealous. Picture the expeditionary capability of the United States Marine Corps combined with the Foreign Legion's anywhere, anytime deployment philosophy, but backed by a naval presence that makes the 6th Fleet look like a Coast Guard exercise. They'd have more overseas bases than America's 800, spread across 3 continents, all connected by infrastructure projects that would make China's Belt and Road Initiative look like a neighborhood road repair. Roman highways never stopped being built, they just got paved with fiber optic cables. But here's where it gets genuinely weird: religion and culture. In our world, Christianity exploded after Rome fell, becoming the dominant Western religion. In this world, if Rome never collapses, Christianity either gets co-opted into a state-controlled civil religion, think Shinto in Imperial Japan or Confucianism in dynastic China, or it never gains the same explosive growth because there's no power vacuum for it to fill. Islam still emerges in the 7th century from Arabia, but good luck expanding into Roman-controlled Levant, Egypt, and North Africa when those territories are locked down by 2,000 years of fortified imperial infrastructure. The Ottomans? Never happened. They needed Anatolia and the Balkans to build their empire, but those regions remain Roman core territory. Russia? They called themselves the Third Rome after Byzantium fell, but if Rome never falls, there's no third anything. Russia's entire southward and westward expansion rationale evaporates. The technology curve bends differently too. Industrialization in our timeline was turbocharged by insane national competition. Britain versus Germany versus France, everyone building bigger navies and better guns, because if you didn't, your neighbor would eat you for breakfast. Rome, unified and stable, industrializes earlier because they have a massive internal market, unified legal standards, and state-sponsored R&D since the Renaissance, except their Renaissance never needed rediscovering anything because the knowledge never got lost. But industrialization happens slower, more methodically, because there's no existential arms race between 6 European powers trying to murder each other. Which means, plot twist, World War I probably doesn't happen, at least not as a European self-immolation event.
No World War I means no World War II, means the 20th century looks radically different. Possibly better, possibly worse, definitely alien. And then there's the big one, Rome versus China. The two oldest continuous civilizations, both surviving into modernity, locked in the longest Cold War in human history. This is classical geopolitics on steroids, phallocracy versus telurocracy, sea power versus land power. Rome controls the oceans, the Mediterranean, the Indian Ocean via Suez, probably significant Atlantic and Pacific presence by the 20th century. China controls the interior, East Asia, Central Asia, the Silk Road routes. The buffer zones, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Central Asia, East Africa, become permanent flashpoints. Not will they fight, but how are they managing not to fight? The Silk Road isn't a historic trade route, it's the DMZ of human civilization. Every proxy conflict, every trade negotiation, every diplomatic incident filters through this 2,000-year rivalry. NATO versus China? Cute. Try Rome versus China since the Han Dynasty. Now for the uncomfortable part. Can a multi-ethnic, multi-religious empire spanning 3 continents even survive into the modern era? At its height, Rome controlled a quarter of the world's population, dozens of languages, countless religions, massive inequality between the imperial core and the frontier provinces. In our world, nationalism tore apart every major empire in the 19th and 20th centuries. The Ottomans, the Austro-Hungarians, the British, the Soviets, all gone, shredded by the simple idea that people who share a language and culture deserve their own state. Rome survives 2 millennia only to face this, the virus of national self-determination in an age of social media and instant communication. The greatest threat to Rome isn't external invasion, it's a Gallic independence movement with a Twitter account.
And finally, the philosophical gut punch. If Rome survives, the concept of the West doesn't exist. In our world, the West means the post-Roman nation-states that inherited Greco-Roman civilization, Europe and America, liberal democracy, human rights, all that Enlightenment stuff. In this world, there's just Rome, one civilization. The question isn't West versus the rest, it's inside the empire or outside it. And Rome, for all its engineering genius and legal sophistication, probably doesn't do liberal democracy. They do universal empire, prioritizing stability, law and order over individual liberty. Not fascist, not necessarily authoritarian, but definitely not the liberal order we know. Think efficient, somewhat paternalistic, occasionally terrifying in its competence. So here's the punchline. A world where Rome never fell would be more stable, possibly more advanced, definitely more unified, and absolutely unrecognizable. One language, Latin, as the Internet's lingua franca. One legal system derived from 2,000-year-old Roman law. One empire eyeing Mars colonization because imperium sine fine, empire without end, and they meant it literally. The good news? Probably fewer massive wars. The bad news? Also probably fewer democracies. The weird news? We'd all be arguing on ForumNet instead of Twitter, and honestly, that might be an improvement. If this simulation of imperial persistence broke your brain, smash that like button. Subscribe for more geopolitical nightmares disguised as history lessons. And remember, Senatus Populusque Romanus, the Senate and people of Rome, still here, still vibing, still running the planet.